welcome to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase, here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, congratulations. You guys had a busy weekend, but it was full of good news. How are you feeling about your team's performance against Arkansas and in the Elevate the Stage meet?
Three things I think that really stood out was the mental endurance we saw in these young women, being able to go back-to-back with one day in between, two 198s in a 48-hour period. I love to see that they were free and had fun, and I believe that the biggest piece of that is they're completely prepared. And so it made the weekend fun. We continued to build our depth. We continued to build trust and our just belief and faith that this team can really do amazing things.
Well, speaking of amazing things, we're going to go right into those vault highlights from the Arkansas meet. We're going to start with Shallon Olson, who scored a 9.9.
So proud of her. Continues to be our leadoff vault, a double full. You see a controlled landing. I just love how excited she got. You know, when it's senior night, a lot of things can happen. And what I loved is that we wanted to start strong, we wanted to stay strong, and we wanted to finish strong. And by Shallon having that leadoff, it put us in a great position. Kaylee Quinn was able to come right behind her with a beautiful 1.5 vault. Once again, working the 10-0 start value vaults, continuing to work on the distance, height, and controlled landings.
And she scored a 9.825 on vault.
Yep, she kind of had to hide that little hop right there, and still very proud of how she went out there to be aggressive. And then, of course, Jordan Paradise was a rock star freshman right here. Best vault of her career. Beautiful height, nails that landing.
You can see it in her face, the excitement.
See how the fans behind stood up, and that's what we need. It was awesome.
And she scored a 9.95 on vaults.
She got absolutely one of the best vaults of her one career, two of the meet, and I loved seeing her be rewarded for it.
And then last we have Luisa Blanco, who scored a 9.825 on vaults.
Yes, so Luisa stepping backwards, that is a deduction that's going to be bigger than if you step forward or actually take a hop. The judging and the way it's designed is that you're going to get hit harder from a score perspective when you do that. But again, we are still building that consistency on vault. We are still going for the 10-0 start values. And then, of course, you're going to see that within 48 hours, our vault team actually improved. And so sometimes I think when you have adversity and you don't really hit the goal, you use that and become more resilient, which I love seeing in this team.
Well, speaking of resilience, we're going to go straight into bars, second rotation. We're going to start with Lily Hudson, who scored a 9.925.
Lily has continued to build week after week. She's just attacking those handstands. I think she has a beautiful, clean line. Little leg separation that we see from this angle, but the judges don't see from the side. And what makes Lily's bar routine really stand out is this dismount. She has a full pirouette right into a double tuck. It's a combination, but you see that those feet don't move.
Yes.
It's solid. You know, you've heard me say before that I want it to be undeniable.
Yep.
And that's an undeniable landing. That's a beautiful stuck position, body in the air, chest is tall on the landing. Love it.
And then we have Makari Doggett, who scored a 9.95.
And this was exciting to have Makari back in the lineup on
I'm so
bars.
excited.
Yeah, exactly. And you see here she has one of the most aggressive bar routines in the NCAA. Huge release moves on the Tkachev to the pack. She flows beautifully. You know, she's still nursing this ankle a little bit, so I know that she is subconsciously taking the landing right here. Just that little bit of hop. She said, Dana, did I get underscored? I said, no, we took that little hop right here, boop. Yeah. And so that was her biggest deduction. But again, I will take it.
Right.
And we will take it because we want her in the bar lineup.
And then we have Luisa Blanco, who scored a 9.975.
This was one of her best bar routines. And as I watch this routine, I love how she just moves from one apparatus, you know, high to low, low to high. She has exquisite lines. Her toe point is just beautiful. Her handstands were on point. I want to watch this dismount. It feels like it was a week ago, right? It's just this other day. Okay, she did move her feet just a hair. I don't think one judge could see it from her side, and that's where the 9.95 came from.
Oh, yeah.
So she had 1.995 and 1.10. Love seeing that 10 thrown.
Love that 10.
Little heel shift is where I could see her improvement.
So we've just gotten through two rotations so far. So how is the team feeling at this point in the meet?
They're right where they wanted to be. We wanted to basically start some momentum and keep the momentum going, and then move over to beam and carry our speed.
Well, thank you. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing the final two rotations, floor and beam.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, we're going to talk about beam for a little bit. What were some improvements you were looking for from your team going into this rotation?
The leadoff is key, and I just kind of continue to congratulate Ella Burgess, who's just been a rock and steady in that position. So she started the tone, and then I loved seeing the athletes continue to build. You know, it was a great beam rotation. We still have some areas where I want to see some wobbles kind of dissipate, but again, that's all about handling the nerves.
So speaking of Ella Burgess, we're going to start with her in our beam highlights, and she scored a 9.9 on beam.
You just watch her, and she has this smile on her face. She loves being up there. I just loved how she moves just really aggressively. She has a one-arm back handspring layout. It's very different in the NCAA. I've only seen 2 or 3 actually this season be competed, and it's just solid as a rock.
Solid.
Right here, a beautiful switch quarter. That is just an awesome skill. She goes into her second leap pass, and again, just steady Eddie. Here she does a nice dismount. I would actually argue that that could have been a 9.95, 9.975 routine. There's not much to take. Right here, the side aerial, she gets nice height. Legs are together. She nails that landing. Beautiful job. Very proud of her.
And then we have Lexi Graper, who scored a 9.95.
Lexi was amazing on beam. Her series, she really even covered the little wobble, you couldn't even tell. Right here, her switch leap, straddle 3/4, probably one of the toughest combinations being done on beam. She did the front toss to 2 foot on this routine. Sometimes she does a one-legged, just depending on what she's feeling. Yep. And right there, she nails that gainer full. It's nice to have a veteran that knows if I'm a little off, I can adjust and do what I need to do. And there's no deduction for it. Both skills have values that keep her at a 10-0 start value. And again, she knows when she needs to change.
That's really mature thinking too, like thinking on the spot like that.
Yes, I call that combat experience.
Right, combat experience.
Definitely. She now, of course, Maddie came in behind her. Maddie's beam routine was so aggressive. Right here, split jump to a tuck full. Thought she did a nice job in that. Everything was done with precision. Right here, a round off 1.5. That's again that landing that is undeniable, and that's really why she's able to score that 9.9 plus, you know, on beam. So again, we are continuing to build her confidence. She's in that 4th position right before we have a freshman step in, and I love the fact that she continues to build the momentum, taking it down to the last performer.
Well, speaking of building that momentum, we're going to go straight into those floor highlights, and we're going to start with Shania Mitchell, who scored a 9.95 on floor. Wow.
So this is Sania, and Sania,
I'm so sorry.
Sania does one of the most entertaining floor routines out there. She has a leap pass that's very complicated here, a wolf full and a half to a wolf full. That was the one area we talked about that I wanted her to improve on for Sunday, which she did a great job. She works so hard in the gym, and so to see her be rewarded for this performance, she ends with a front through to double back, and you see her land this. Now watch her reaction. She was like, yeah! I had a smile on my face from ear to ear, and she's just entertaining. She just loves to own the floor, own the performance, and I was so happy for her on senior night to have had her best performance in her career.
Yes, I love how this happened for her on senior night. I was going to mention that. And you could tell that she's so proud of herself.
And she should be. Luisa Blanco just continuing to work this sassy, fun floor routine with flair and precision. I love how she moves. Right here, we changed her leap pass. She has a switch ring to a switch half, which we're not showing, but she shows the next pass, a double tuck. Again, landings were just beautiful. Right here, her third pass, a combination pass, front full, front layout. You can see that she's excited. She nails that landing. Just continuing to amaze me that week after week, she brings her best.
Week after week, she brings her best in that artistry you were talking about, too. You always notice that when she performs. And then we have Lexi Graper, who scored a 9.975.
I'm going to let Lexi's movement speak for itself. She has just been such a rock on this, you know, event every week. Being an NCAA floor champion, of course, adds to that, you know, just confidence. But all of her skills are just done so well. She landed a little stiff-legged there. I was so proud of just, you know, senior night's one of those nights. You can either implode because you put way too much pressure on yourself, or you can be in the moment. And the other piece is Griffin James went exhibition right after her. So we used every single senior we have right now. We have 6 of them. Every one of them competed on senior night.
I noticed that, yep.
Yeah, and I wanted that for them so bad because they've worked so hard and they just deserve that opportunity, and it created a great deal of unity. I love when they take that ownership and they just have fun and do what they know how to do.
It was definitely a meet to remember. But speaking of another meet to remember, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll be discussing the Elevate the Stage meet.
You wanted to do today. You started strong. You finished strong. You finished strong. That was the best vault you've done. We had people step in. We had changes going on. We had a crazy beginning. You guys are capable of anything you want. And nobody...
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, let's talk about that Elevate the Stage meet. For our viewers who don't really know what that is, can you explain that to us really quick?
Well, it's a meet on podium, which means it's a raised surface. It means that the student athlete is truly the showcase of the meet. This rotation, we had four teams there, so that meant we went basically started on bars and went event by event in rotation versus switching, and so it was a great opportunity for going into postseason.
Well, let's talk about bars for a little bit. We're going to go straight into our highlights. We're going to start with Maddie Wallagora, who scored a 9.95 on bars.
Lights out is what I can call this bar rotation. It was so on fire. And Maddie stepped in. We were actually supposed to have Jordan Paradise in here, and last minute she went in. She did a beautiful Jaeger to shoot over. But what was so exciting was this dismount. Maddie works on this consistently in practice. She does a double leg full out. Watch this. She got the landing.
Oh, yes.
And it was so exciting.
Definitely an undeniable landing, like how you've been talking about,
yes,
right?
For sure. And exciting because she stepped in for her teammate, she did her job, and she really owned it. And I just loved seeing that.
And you said this is on podium, so you said the stage is like elevated, like in the title of the meet, right?
It is. Elevate the stage.
I
exactly
love that.
what that means.
And then we have Cam Machado, who scored a 9.95.
Oh, just beautiful bar routine. She does the Maloney to the pack. Her legs are pinned together. She has a beautiful, I just love seeing her gain more confidence week after week. She does a combination here to the Maloney half. And again, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had 6 bar routines and we stuck 5 out of 6 landings on bars.
Wow,
so that was huge.
And I remember I talked to Lexi and Emily last week, and they were saying that this is one of their favorite bar routines to watch, is Cam's. They love
She makes
her
it look so
routine.
easy.
Yeah.
That's what's so nice. And she just really gets, the form has gotten better. She just knows where she is, and I love watching her excel. I feel like Cameron's a sleeper. People don't, I think like she's kind of understated, and we need to
like
continue to build her.
And then you have Luisa Blanco, who scored a 9.925.
Yeah, so this angle is very different than what we normally watch, right? You're watching it from the end, and I love that their legs are pinned together. And Luisa just, again, week after week, she does a beautiful dismount. Watch this. Now, this is a double back with a full twist. She comes off the bar, nice height, and again lands that. You can see she knew it. Her face was there. It was a fun day. I'm not gonna, it was just a great day, and bars could be where we start for the SEC championship,
Really?
could be where we
Okay.
start for the regional championship.
Okay.
We don't know yet, and so I love that we started on a different event and that we were able to just, again, start strong and then carry that momentum to the next event.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that, but since you've already discussed it, let's move on to the next rotation, which is beam, and we're going to start with Ella Burgess, who scored a 9.9.
So on podium, the one thing you may not see is because it's a raised surface, and this beam is actually what's called an adjustable beam, there's a little more bounce to it.
Okay.
So you have to be super patient and really work with the beam versus work against the beam.
Okay.
And I love seeing Ella get out there on podium. I think it's the second time she's ever been on podium.
Okay.
And I love that she really kind of just owned it. A little pike down in that dismount is the best place I could say she could gain some tenths. On her switch leap beat jump, she kind of slipped, but she covered it really well.
And then we have Lexi Graper, who scored a 9.875.
You can see there a little balance check here and there, but I like to see how she regained her composure. She did a beautiful leap pass, that switch leap 3/4. Again, her movement's strong. Now this time she does the Yukon to the one leg to the scale because it was straight and on point, and she just sold that.
Definitely saw that, and you can tell she's really proud of herself, too.
Well, the other piece, how I talked earlier about the mental endurance, you know, when you come off such a high performance on Friday and you score one of the best scores in program history, and then you have to come around in 48 hours and do it again. This is when you watch Lily Hudson with the little balance check. Very atypical of her, but at the same time, this is the experience we need to get before we go into the postseason when you're going to have the 2 nights of competition back to back.
Definitely. It definitely takes a lot of mental endurance, like you were saying, and resiliency going back to back like that and still becoming victorious, winning both meets.
And the biggest, to me, the biggest success here is she had a small wobble in the routine, but then she ends it with a beautiful dismount. So we talk about the next second being most important, and so you have to be able to adapt. So again, you're not always going to be perfect. So how do you adjust and how do you move on? And that's what the team is learning every day, and I love that.
I love that too. I love watching them progress each and every meet. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing the last two rotations, which is vault and floor.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, before we get into those last two rotations, I have to ask, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about the order of the rotations, how different it was. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the way that we were chosen to start on bars is this is a meet where we've had a home and away with Auburn for a really long time. And so because we were considered the away team, we started on bars.
Right.
But because it wasn't a dual setting and there were 4 teams there, we basically went in Olympic order, but we started on bars. And so basically we went from bars, beam, floor, vault. And again, it's great experience to be able to start on a different event and in another event, because this could happen in postseason depending on how the rankings fall out in the next 2 days, or actually the next 2 weeks.
That's great. So it was really just good practice for you guys to start switching up that order a little bit with rotations.
Well, not only that, I love that there was multiple things going on, because it just makes the attention to detail and the focus of being able to block out the distractions an opportunity to be a better performer when you are going to be in that setting when a lot of things are going on.
Well, speaking of performances, let's get right into those floor highlights. And we're going to start with Lily Hudson, who scored a 9.95.
This was an amazing floor routine. She does a very hard combination pass, a front layout double full. We did not use her on Friday night to let the seniors all get in the lineup, and so it was beautiful to watch her just be so exquisite. And it was interesting, as she was doing the routine, I kept saying to myself, okay, where can we find another .025? Where can we get better? And this routine was literally flawless. It was gorgeous. Her 2.5 legs are completely pinned together, controls the landing. Her last pass of the double back, I mean, this is probably one of the best double backs I've ever seen her do in competition. Just look at how controlled that is.
Clean, yes.
Love her expression. As a freshman, she's putting more into her dance, which is something very important to the whole overall performance aspect that's going to help her continue to shine in postseason.
Competing like a vet, like you've been saying. She's been competing like a vet as a freshman.
Yep. And then so exciting for Cameron Machado. She stepped in when Luisa Blanco did not do floor on Sunday. Okay. She was a backup, and I just think this is a beautiful message. Always be ready, because when the opportunity presents itself, you snag it. Not only did Cameron snag it, she was exquisite here. She does that triple squat turn, unbelievably hard. Her leaps are well over 180. The judges love it. And she does a double pike, double tuck, and a combination pass. So she has a 3-pass floor routine, which is a little different than some of our girls.
And she scored a 9.925 on floor.
She did. She took the opportunity and ran with it. The big piece of that was this last pass right here. She does a double tuck. Look at how beautiful. Oh, nails it. Look at that smile. I just love seeing her be free and just be open, and great for her experience.
And of course, we're going to end with Lexi Graper, who scored a 9.95.
She sure did. Once again, she does the tuck full in. She ends with the front to double pike. Her leap pass right here, a wolf full and a half, basically meets the requirements. She proved to herself, even being a 5th year, her legs could handle 2 days in a row. I love that.
She just is someone you just can't stop watching when they're performing.
She's fierce.
She's captivating.
She is a fierce competitor. You can see that she owns it, and she is so happy to do the sport she loves, and I'm so grateful she decided to come back for another year.
Oh, I think all Bama fans were excited when she said she was coming back for another year.
Absolutely, but it's even more so than her gymnastics. It's the legacy and the leadership that she's passing on. She's been very appreciative of the seniors being able to have their senior year, but also been a leader with example and with hard work, and that's all you can ask for in a great senior like that.
Legacy and leadership, I love those words. But we're going to go on straight into vault highlights, and we're going to start with Shalyn Olson, who scored a 9.9.
I know we keep saying this is a great leadoff position for her, but it absolutely is. That was a nice vault. The only deduction was the slide on the landing. But again, on podium, it's getting adjusted to the extra bounce. So that will probably prepare her for SECs to know right where she is. Maddie Walagora stepping in for Jordan Paradise. Look at that vault. That was the best vault she's done all season. Actually reminded me of the best vault she did last season, so I'm feeling like she's getting that rhythm back. Really proud of her there. Luisa Blanco steps in. She does the best vault of her, season so far. She's finding that rhythm. Yeah, it was a great day on vault. I loved how we finished strong. We set that tone. Auburn was on balance beam at the same time. You have Arkansas over on bars, having a knockout bar performance. You've got Georgia having a knockout performance on floor. And there we are, just trugging along, basically staying in the Bama bubble, literally staying so focused. I didn't know what the scores were. I didn't care. I wanted us girls to just focus on what we could control, which was our performance. And that's exactly what they did. And lo and behold, 198. Experience on the podium, and an awesome preparation going into postseason.
So this is towards the end of the season. We're getting into postseason. You keep using the words like the best you've ever seen of this person, the best you've ever seen of that person. So I'm guessing you're seeing that progress that you've been wanting all season. What do you think?
The progress is there. The confidence is building. We got to do the work in the gym. And when we talk about being free and having fun, you can have fun when you're prepared. And that's what I keep sharing with the ladies is it's normal right now to be a little tired, to be a little fatigued. But we got to find ways to continue to keep it sharp, to continue to find the love and the joy in the sport, and to find that next gear, because the sweet spot is right now. All the hard work, the overcoming adversity is what we do in order to get to postseason. And that's where we're at, and I just want to see them finish with the excellence that they're capable of. I want them to continue to love each other and have the unity and the accountability to one another. If they do that, their passion will speak for greatness.
And you want them to finish strong, right? Finish strong. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be discussing the SEC Championship meet.
The Dana Duckworth Show is brought to you by Alabama One.
Welcome back to the Dana Duckworth Show, brought to you by Alabama One. I'm Kennedy Chase here with head coach Dana Duckworth. And coach, we're going into that postseason. How important was that last win going to the SEC Championship?
The win was great, but the performance was what was better. Every single step we've taken this regular season has prepared us to have the confidence going into the next one. I do know this is our last television show, so I do want to give a shout out to Alabama One and Tuscaloosa Toyota. Those two sponsors make all of this possible, make the in-meet adventure possible, and we couldn't do it without our support and especially our fans. So I want to thank everybody while I had the chance.
Yes, sadly, this is our last show. Do you have any final thoughts on just your team as a whole during the season?
Well, Bama fans, you are the best. You're the best in the country. We have the SEC Championship in Birmingham, Saturday, March 19th. Your energy and support and love is felt, so we'd love to see you there. We'll go into postseason with regionals, and we don't know where we're going yet, but if you can be present and you can get, God willing, we're at Fort Worth at the National Championship, come be supporters of this team. They work hard every day to make you proud, to make our alumni proud, and to just represent something bigger than themselves. And you can be there if you want to, and we appreciate it. So appreciate the support all season, and we just got to take one step at a time, be present, and focus on what we can control.
Well, I do have to ask one more quick question. I know a lot of people are wondering, SEC Championships, are you guys ready for a repeat of last year? Because I know you guys won, so you guys ready for a repeat?
I'm going to be where my feet are. I'm going to ask the team to be where their feet are, because if you focus on outcomes, you're not going to be focusing on the right things. And so we're going to do what we do the best we can do it and let the outcomes take care of themselves. And if we do that, we absolutely know we're capable of it. It's going to be a very, very, very competitive SEC championship, and that's exactly what we want, to be the best against the best.
The best against the best. Well, it's been a great season with you, Coach. Thank you all for watching. This is our last show, so roll tide, everyone. Thanks for watching the Dana Duckworth Show.
Thank you. Roll tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,